Star Story 1. God creates the universe and man. Blank, underscore, blank. In the beginning, when nothing existed but endless darkness and deep silence, only God, the Almighty Creator, was present. Space had no form, time had not yet begun. The universe was just a nameless black sea. But even in that absolute silence, God's love was moved, and from love, He wanted to create a world full of light, beauty and light. Day 1, light and darkness. In the beginning, when the universe was immersed in an endless silence, there was no sky, no earth, no creatures, only a vast void and absolute silence. Space had no form, time did not exist, and darkness covered everything. In that invisible realm, only God, the Almighty Creator, the Eternal, stood firm in eternity. He was present, without needing any matter or light to exist, because He Himself was the source of all life and power. In that silence, a love so vast, so great, so full of life was waiting to explode. And that moment, the moment that opened the history of all things, had come. God looked into the dark void, looked into the ineffable emptiness. In His heart, a living desire arose, the desire to create, the desire to fill that silence with life and light. And then, from His infinite power, a voice spoke, a sound that was not just a word, but the birth of creative energy. Let there be light. The word echoed throughout the infinite space, like a current of electricity piercing the void, vibrating every corner of the unformed universe. It was not just a command, it was the first heartbeat of the universe. The first breath of life. The darkness was instantly torn apart, and the first light appeared, not a faint light, but a brilliant, radiant light, so powerful that all darkness was dispelled. It was so bright that it could not be looked at directly. Yet it was filled with a wondrous beauty and serenity. That light was unlike any light we could later imagine. It was part illumination, part breath, part warmth, part rhythm, carrying within it the life force and presence of God Himself. Every ray of light that penetrated the void contained order, the possibility of division, and the seed of all that would come. That light did not simply dispel darkness, it began to create distinction, separation, and laid the foundation for everything that God would create in the next 6 days. God looked at that first light and saw that it was good, perfect, complete. It not only illuminated empty space, but also seemed to illuminate His own soul, reflecting the infinite love and power of the Creator. From this first light, He began to establish the basic order. Light was different from darkness. Day was different from night. This was an important distinction, not just physical but also spiritual. Light was called day, and darkness was called night. Night and day, though different, were in perfect balance. Light and darkness are not hostile opposites, but complement each other, forming the basis for the rhythm of time. God established the first rhythm in the universe, day and night, like a heartbeat. Like the first symphony, every minute, every second of time will be based on this foundation, letting all creatures know when to work, when to rest, when to turn to the light, when to rest in the darkness. In that moment, everything comes alive. Darkness is no longer invisible, but becomes part of the balance, a counterweight for the light to shine more brightly. Light is not isolated, but a meaningful combination with darkness, creating what is called existence. Every first ray of light, every bright corner in the void, is meticulously considered by God, like a delicate artist caring for each brushstroke on the beautiful painting of the universe. That first light also brought hope, joy, and promise. It said, from absolute darkness, from formless nothingness, everything could be born. It began a long and wondrous journey, a journey that humans would continue to explore, learn, and marvel at. Every wind, every speck of dust, every creature in the future would bear the imprint of this first moment, the moment God spoke and the light appeared. God named the light day, and the darkness night, not only to distinguish, but also to convey a lesson, that everything in the universe has its place and role, has meaning, and serves an absolute order that only He fully understands. This is the foundation for all the laws, all the principles, all the balances that God would continue to set in the next 6 days of creation. And so, the first day of the great work of creation ended. In that first light, in the separation of day and night, we see a profound message. All life begins with light, with distinction and order, and all good comes from God's power and love. Darkness is no longer an enemy, light is no longer a distant thing. The two blend together in a beautiful symphony, opening the door to life, creativity, and the miracles that God will continue to perform. Day 2, the sky. After God created light, separating day from night, a wonderful silence and stillness pervaded the void. But in the heart of the Creator, the work was not yet finished. He looked down into the vast expanse, where there was no form, where water and space had no definition. He saw that the universe needed a separation, a new space, a heaven where all things could have a place, where light and water, earth and space could interact in an orderly way. And God said, "Let there be a firmament between the waters, and let it separate one from another." At once, a wonderful transformation took place. The undivided waters floated, but under the power of God, they began to gather, to separate according to the order He had laid down. A vast expanse appeared, curving, enclosing, and supporting, creating a vast sky. This space was not just empty, it carries within it greatness, lightness, and potential vitality, like a vast carpet where the clouds will later drift, the winds will blow, and the stars will be hung. God called this space heaven, a vast space to separate two realms, the waters above and the waters below. The waters above the sky, the waters below the sky, both have their place, and this is the foundation of absolute balance, where light, darkness, water and earth will operate in an order that only the Creator can understand. The sky, under the power of God, becomes alive. It is not just a lifeless void, the sky has rhythm, has the ability to sustain life, has light and darkness intermingling every second and every minute. From here, the wind will know how to blow over the lands, the rain will fall in the right place, and later, people will look up at the sky and see the vast universe. Recognizing the order and greatness of the Creator, God looked at the sky for the first time and saw that it was good, perfect, balanced, and meaningful. It was not just a place to separate the waters, but also a symbol of order and balance. In the sky, every layer of air, every space had a purpose. It was a canopy that sheltered all things, a place where rain, clouds, wind, and light would move according to the rhythms God had set. And from the sky, God began to envision the future: long, warm sunny days, quiet, moonlit nights, gentle showers, and clouds drifting lazily across the deep blue sky. All of this was the result of an eternal order where people and things would live in harmony. The sky was not just a physical space, it was also a mirror reflecting God's power and wisdom. The space God created also had a beauty that was unprecedented. It was clear, bright, yet gentle, like a vast mirror reflecting the first light. In that sky, everything latent energy, light, life, was waiting to explode, waiting for God to continue His creative work in the following days. God created the sky as a symbol of order and harmony. The space above would be where natural phenomena would take place. Clouds would float, winds would blow, rain would fall where it was needed. The sky would also be where people would look up, recognize God's greatness, and learn to respect and cherish life. The second day ended in absolute serenity. God stood before the vast sky He had created, seeing the clear separation between water and space, between low and high, between light and dark. He knew that the work had reached a perfect balance, where every element had its place and role. The sky, in God's eyes, is not just a space, but also a profound message, that everything in the universe needs order, needs a place, and that all good things come from the Creator's infinite power and love. And it was on this second day that a solid foundation was laid for all things to flourish, for light to continue to shine, for day and night to blend in perfect rhythm. The sky does not just divide space, it also opens the door for all things to exist, to grow, and to live in order. That moment, when God looked at the sky for the last time before moving to the third day, brought with it awe, peace, and a profound joy. It was a testament to God's infinite power, perfect wisdom, and immense love for the universe. Everything, from the first light to the vast expanse of space, was created in perfect love, order, and beauty, opening a new chapter in the story of creation that mankind will witness and learn from. Day 3, Dry Land and Plants. After God created the light and the sky, the universe was not yet complete. The earth was still covered with water, with no place for living things to live, no solid ground for plants to grow on. And God said, "Let the waters be gathered together in one place, and let dry land appear." Immediately, the waters began to move in an orderly manner, gathering into vast seas, winding rivers, deep lakes. Higher lands slowly rose, forming dry land, plains, and hills. God called the dry land earth, and the waters seas. This was the first time that order and form appeared on the surface of the earth, creating a foundation for all life. But God did not stop there. He looked at the newly created land, which was still bare and barren, and in his heart arose a desire to make this land full of life. He said, "Let the earth bring forth grass, seed-bearing plants, and fruit trees of its kind." And so a miracle occurred. From the dry soil, sprouts of plants grew, green fields gradually appeared, small clumps of grass crept across the ground, and ancient trees grew tall, spreading their leaves as if to embrace the whole universe. Flowers bloomed everywhere, giving off a sweet fragrance, and their colors ranged from pure white, brilliant yellow, to crimson and dreamy purple. God placed each plant and bush in its proper place, in a delicate order, large trees next to small trees, fruit trees next to trees with lush green leaves. Everything obeyed his law, growing according to its kind. Not a single sprout grew in the wrong place. Not a single branch or leaf went astray. Plants and trees not only beautified the earth, but also prepared the environment for future living creatures. From the grasslands, wild animals would find shelter. From the fruit trees, people will have food. From the ancient trees, wind and rain will be regulated. God looked over the earth and smiled. He saw everything was beautiful, a complete picture of life just formed, but still full of promise for the future. The third day ended. The earth was green, the sea was vast, the grass and trees were full of life. This was the first time in the universe that people would later witness the complete earth and sky. A place where they could stand, where they could enjoy colors and scents, where all things would grow and flourish. The light from the first day shone down on the earth, on the grass and the sea, making everything more vivid and brilliant. And so, the work of creation on the third day was completed, opening an important turning point. From darkness and invisible water, God created solid earth and all kinds of plants, preparing for life on earth, the foundation for all subsequent creations. Day 4, the sun, moon, and stars. After the dry land and vegetation had appeared, the universe still lacked clear signs of time. There was no specific rhythm of day and night, no markers to distinguish the seasons, for light and darkness to operate in full accordance with God's will. And God said, "Let there be lights in the expanse of the sky to separate the day from the night, and let them serve as signs for seasons, days, and years." At once, his power spread throughout the sky. From the vast expanse of space, God created two brilliant lights, one large light that illuminated the day, so bright that all living things on earth could see it and feel its warmth. This was the sun, the main source of light, illuminating and giving rhythm to the day. A second, less powerful but no less important light appeared to illuminate the night. It was the moon, soft and dreamy, hanging in the night sky, illuminating the fields, the rivers, and the forests. The moon not only provided light, but also symbolized peace and the delicate rhythm of time, allowing the universe to balance between day and night. But God did not stop there. He looked up at the sky, saw that space was still empty, needed more points of light to serve as a background for the sun and the moon. And he said, "Let there be stars in the sky, to adorn and signify all things." Immediately, countless sparkling stars appeared, scattered across the sky like precious gems, emitting a mysterious, brilliant, yet gentle light. Each star shone in order, at its own distance, with its own rhythm. They made the night sky come alive, creating a sense of wonder, like a vast carpet of light stretching endlessly. God saw that everything was good. The sun illuminates the day, the moon guides the night, the stars sparkle, creating a perfect rhythm for time. Day and night, light and darkness, now have clear markers, and everything in the universe can operate according to his absolute order. The sun, moon, and stars are more than just physical lights. They are symbols of the Creator's power and wisdom, reminding all living things of God's greatness, order, and faithfulness. They guide humans, animals, and nature, creating the rhythm of seasons, days, and years, the foundation for life on earth. The fourth day ends in serenity and wonder. The heavens are complete. The day is radiant with the light of the sun. The night is shimmering with the light of the moon and stars. God looks upon his work and sees that everything is good, perfect, and balanced. This was the first time that light and darkness were shaped in a clear rhythm, ready for all subsequent life to appear on earth. Day 5, birds of the sky and fish of the sea. After 4 days of creation, The foundations of the universe had been laid. Light had been defined. The sky was firm, the land was dry, and vegetation was green, but the earth was still barren. The seas were lifeless, the sky was still empty. And God said, "Let the waters teem with living creatures, and let birds fly above the sun of the sky." At once, God's power began to spread across the waters. Rivers, seas, and lakes suddenly came to life. Fish of all kinds appeared, from tiny creatures that crept among coral reefs to giant creatures that swam powerfully in the deep. Each fish was created by God according to its own species, each with its own color, shape, and behavior, creating a rich, vibrant, and wondrous ocean. God observed and said, "Be fruitful, multiply, and fill the waters, so that the seas may be filled with life." And the fish began to multiply, swimming freely, creating a vibrant underwater world, as brilliant as a miniature universe. The gentle waves lapped against the shore, harmonizing with the light reflected from the sky, creating a wonderful natural music, where every sound matched the rhythm of life. Not stopping at the ocean, God looked up to the sky, and there, the vast space became alive with flying birds. From small colorful birds to large, powerful birds spreading their wings, all followed the rhythm of the universe. They flew in the sky, singing together, creating symphonies full of melodious sounds and full of life. Each species of bird, each species of fish was created with absolute ingenuity and sophistication. They not only had brilliant shapes and colors, but also had unique ways of moving. Birds knew how to fly with the wind. Fish knew how to swim with the water. God established the laws of nature, ensuring that all creatures lived in harmony with their environment, following the rhythm of life. God looked at his new creation and saw that everything was good. The seas were now teeming with life. The skies were filled with birds, creating a scene of brilliance, life, and wonder. The light of day shone down on the water and land, making the creatures sparkle and live, while the darkness of night provided rest, protection, and balance. The fifth day ended, with the seas teeming with life, the skies filled with birds, in harmony with light, darkness, sky, and land. For the first time, perfect life spread across both land and water, ushering in a new world where all creatures would flourish, thrive, and live in the order that God had established. Day 6, Animals and Man. After 4 days of creating the sky, light, the earth, plants, and the seas filled with living creatures, the universe was still missing an important part: the creatures on the ground. The abundant animals, and especially man, the pinnacle of creation. God looked over the earth, at the fields, the forests, the vast grasslands, and saw that the time had come to complete the picture of life. God said, "Let the earth bring forth every kind of animal, according to its kind, cattle, wild animals, and reptiles, each in its order." Immediately, from the green fields, the dense forests, the vast grasslands, all kinds of animals appeared. Gentle creatures like deer, rabbits, and wild oxen leapt on the green grass. Fierce creatures like lions, leopards, and tigers appeared with strength and majesty. Reptiles, snakes, lizards, moving gracefully, adding richness to the world. Each species was created with absolute ingenuity and sophistication, shape, color, behavior, ability to hunt or defend, all perfect and suitable for its own environment. God looked at all the moving, living creatures, and saw that everything was good. Each animal had its own shelter, food, and way of survival. They did not conflict with the order of the universe but were in harmony, together creating a world full of color, sound, and rhythm. But God did not stop there. He wanted to create a special creature, the pinnacle of creation, to stand above all other creatures, but still in harmony and love with them. And God said, "Let us make man in our image, in the image of God, male and female." And from the clay, God formed man, a perfect, beautiful figure, with a soul and intelligence that reflected his power and love. He gave man the ability to think, to create, to love, and to distinguish between good and evil. Man was created to rule over all living things on earth, to care for them, and to maintain the order that God had established. God gave man life, breathing the breath of life into his nostrils. Immediately, man became alive, vibrant, and full of energy. He opened his eyes, looked around, felt the light, the wind, the trees, the birds, and all the animals living in harmony. He stood up, walked on the earth, and felt God's immense power and love. God said to man, "Be fruitful and multiply. Fill the earth, and subdue it. The sixth day ended in perfect beauty. The earth was green. Forests and grasslands teemed with life. The seas teemed with fish. Birds flew, and man stood in the midst of it all. The pinnacle of creation, everything was harmonious, orderly, and beautiful. Light shone upon all things, bringing with it the breath of life, creating a world full of wonder. On the sixth day, God looked over his work and saw that everything was good, perfect, balanced, full of color, sound, and rhythm. This was the day when life on earth became complete, ushering in an era where humans, animals, and all living things lived in harmony, in the order that God had created. The seventh day, a day of rest and blessing. After 6 days of creation, the universe was complete. Light and darkness were separated. The sky was solid, dry land was green with vegetation. The seas teemed with life. Birds flew, animals roamed the land, and man was made in the image of God. Everything was perfect, balanced, and full of life. God looked at the universe he had created. In the bright light of day and the gentleness of night, he saw that his work was good and perfect. Every creature, every stream of water, every tree, every star, all operated according to the rhythm of life that he had intended. Everything was so harmonious, so orderly, and so perfect that nothing could be added or subtracted. And God said, "Rest from the work of the sixth day, and bless this day." The seventh day became a day of rest, a day of silence and holiness. This is not only a day for God to rest, but also a day of blessing, a day full of meaning for all living things and especially for humans. He blessed the land, the sea, the sky, the plants, the animals, and humans, all living in peace and happiness. God looked at humans, the pinnacle of creation, and said, "Live, be fruitful, and cherish all around you. Take care of this earth, for it is all my work." The seventh day is not only a day of rest, but also a day of harmony. The sun shines gently, the moon and stars illuminate the night. The wind blows gently in the fields and on the sea. The birds sing, the fish swim, the animals are at peace. All are in harmony with the wonderful rhythm of life that God created. This is also a day for humans to recognize God's power, wisdom, and immense love. Every creature, every landscape, every natural phenomenon is a testament to his greatness. Humans, with their intelligence and soul, learn to respect, cherish, and protect all creatures, living in the order that God has established. The seventh day ends with a deep sense of peace. God rests, looks at his perfect work, and sees that everything is good, perfect, and complete. Everything in the sky, on the earth, in the sea, and in space is blessed, preparing for the days to come, where life will continue to flourish. All species will flourish, and humans will experience the greatness and love of the Creator. The seventh day becomes a symbol of silence, of joy, and of perfection. It reminds all creatures, especially humans, of the origin, order, and meaning of life, a sacred message that God has for the entire universe. The meaning of the story. The story of God's creation is not just a narrative, but an affirmation of the origin of life. All comes from God. The value of human beings. We bear his image. The love of the Creator. All things created are good. Human responsibility. To care for the earth and live according to God's ways. When the night falls and we see the stars twinkling in the sky, we remember, each one has a name that God has called. When the sun rises each morning, it is a sign that he is still keeping the world alive. When we see a child smiling, or an elderly person holding the hand of a loved one, it is a trace of the breath of God continuing to live in us. And when we ask ourselves, what is the meaning of my life? The creation story answers, we were loved from the beginning, created for purpose, and called to live in God's love. The story ends here. Please support me to have the motivation to make the next videos by sharing and subscribing to the channel. Thank you.